Well, let's go ahead and get started. Everyone is not chatty today. I did not see a lot of things in the chat, but to start, I will introduce myself, let you know a little bit about me, and then I will get over to our panelists and kind of what we're going to talk about today. So I am Ashley Mitchell. I have spent my entire career in marketing and communications roles. Started in franchising when I fell into it, as most people do. Most of you probably did as well. In 2014, after a 6 or so year stint with the Walt Disney Company, where I oversaw everything that Disney touched in Michigan and Northern Ohio. I've held several positions over the years in which I've been responsible for creating, driving marketing strategy, overseeing the growth of the business through all aspects of consumer marketing and communication, contributing to overall strategic planning as part of executive teams. My experience spans consumer marketing, franchise development marketing, and mergers and acquisitions, both on acquiring other businesses and being acquired by and working with private equity firms. So a little bit all over the place there. Currently working with a handful of brands in a variety of industries, including youth enrichment, beauty concepts, QSR, and B2B services. So a little bit about me. Our discussion today is really going to focus on fresh marketing approaches. How are you going to start the year on a high note with different marketing efforts, leveraging AI for marketing success? I know AI is a big buzzword and that's what everybody is, talking about, but we're going to talk a little bit more about practical methods and how you can use it within your marketing efforts. And then just mastering key channels for 2024. What are maybe some of the more effective channels for attracting, engaging new customers? It's going to be different across the board depending on industries. I see we have a lot of different people in here. People have started to wake up, so that's good. We have some hospitality, social media, handyman, remodeling, property management, emerging franchises, junk removal. So a little bit of everything, which is great. Variety of different industries that we're going to cover here. All right. First, I also want to invite everybody to join the CMO Peer Talk community if you're not already a member. It is a community. You can scan that QR code and join. There's a LinkedIn group. We have a lot of online events, a lot of offline events. Our next in-person event is actually going to be at the IFA in Phoenix. So if you are going to that and you want more information, please feel free to let me know. We're going to have an in-person event there with some different panels and discussions and things like that going on. So everyone is, welcome to join. So if you want more information, just let me know. It's a really great place where you can ask questions, learn from other people, continue the conversations of what's going on, have some people that share in your same struggles. This roundtable today is actually sponsored by Promo Republic. So Promo Republic is a marketing platform for franchise growth. And we do have someone with us from Promo Republic today to kind of speak to Promo Republic. So Alex, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Ashley, thank you so much for the warm introduction. Once again, my name is Alex Harbinov, and I'm a local marketing automation expert here at Promo Republic. For those of you that are really unfamiliar with Promo Republic and the first time hearing our brand, we are the one marketing platform for all of your franchise growth needs. We really help streamline the process across all of social media marketing, reputation management, and local SEO. Our AI-powered tools help enable marketing experts to attract more local business for their franchisees. I'll drop my LinkedIn link into the Zoom chat shortly, and I hope to get acquainted with everyone. And I'd love to pass the mic now back over to Ashley to introduce our wonderful panel of speakers today.
Thanks, Alex. So I'm going to let the speakers introduce themselves because they will probably do a way better job of it than I will. So first, I'm going to pass it over to Chad.
Sure. Hello, everybody. So my name's Chad Palmer. I'm the CMO here at United Franchise Group. So we represent 11 different brands in almost as many different industries. We're in the co-working space, signer space, promotional space, business brokerage. We're kind of all over the place. My role here at UFG is helping all of our marketing groups. So the kind of marketing teams, when they need help with vendors like Promo Republic or any other things like that, that tends to come into my role, as well as strategy to help them. So I'm an early adopter of AI, so I'm excited to hear what everyone's using. I love getting on these and learning new tips and tricks and tools, as well as sharing what we've learned and what we utilize here at UFG. So again, thanks for having me today. I look forward to joining the panel.
Awesome. Thank you. Lindsay, you're up.
Hi, guys. I'm Lindsay Simpson. I am the CMO for two brands, Athletic Republic and The Dog Wizard. I have a little over 20 years of experience as well. Always been in the health and wellness space. I'm from Southern California originally. I am currently in Park City, Utah, which is my home, and I love the outdoors. I'm a mom of two and, well, three, if fur babies count.
Totally.
So, and the last 5 years I've been in franchising. I specialize in emerging franchisees or franchisors, or re-emerging franchisors. So Athletic Republic is a 33-year-old brand. We're in sports performance training for youth athletes and adult fitness. And the Dog Wizard is a mobile dog training business with nearly 100 locations worldwide, with 160 territories sold, and growing fast. And so I specialize on both the consumer side and the FranDev side. Absolutely love everything to do with franchising, and especially love groups like this. Franchising is so warm and welcoming, and CMO Pure Talks like this is such an amazing way to brainstorm together, learn from different industries. You could be shoulder to shoulder with your biggest competitor, and people are so open to sharing ideas because collectively we build franchising as a organization, as an industry together. And I just absolutely love that. So I'm excited to chat with you all today, and I'm very excited to see everyone at IFA in a couple weeks.
That was a great pitch for franchising. And yes, if you are new to franchising, reach out and ask people questions, because you will be shocked that they will actually answer you and give you all of the knowledge that they have. They want to share it with you. So do not be afraid to ask. That is probably the #1 tip I have for anybody entering franchising, because it is unlike any other industry where you ask a question and people actually answer you. So don't be afraid to start asking. Next, we're going to pass it over to Danielle.
Hi, thank you. I'm Danielle Yuthas. I'm the Director of Franchise Development Marketing for Empower Brands. And Empower Brands has 10 brands. A lot of them are in the home services type space. I'm relatively new to Empower Brands, but it is my 10th year in franchising. I came from large format printing brands, health and fitness brands, and Ace Hardware as well. So kind of a mixed variety of different types of franchises in my background. Before that, I was in digital marketing on the agency side as well. So I've seen a little bit of everything in franchising, and just hoping to contribute what I can, give back to the franchise network. I am on the IFA committee for marketing, technology, and innovation. So shameless plug for the session at IFA. So I hope to see everyone there. It's a digital marketing session at IFA as well.
Awesome. And last but certainly not least, Crystal.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Crystal Ware, Managing Director at Location 3. I am based in Denver, Colorado, and Lindsay, dogs absolutely do count. I'm mom to one little girl and 2 pups who are old, but still in puppy spirit. I work for Location 3. We're on the supplier side for franchising. We are a digital marketing agency, been in business for 25 years. We'll be celebrating our 25th year in business this year, actually.
Awesome.
Of those 25 years, 15 or more of those years have been spent specifically in the franchising space. And I personally have been working in franchising for about 12 of my 15 years in digital marketing. And I love the franchising space because of the collaboration and the opportunity, and our ability to influence small business owners. And so I'm really excited to be here today. Thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, like I mentioned at the beginning, these are our amazing panelists, lots of different areas of expertise. We have the supplier side, we have the franchisor side, we have platform brands, we have individual brands. So we're going to get a lot of different perspectives. If you have questions, please ask. You can put all your questions in the chat as we go. If they make sense for me to pull out, I'll pull them out during. If not, we can save them for the end. Do not hesitate to ask any questions. So we're going to get through this. We have a few different questions that we're going to ask all of our panelists. It's going to be very conversational. Jump in, they're going to jump in and kind of play off of each other, I'm sure, because there's going to be a lot of things that come out. Then at the end, we're going to get into breakout rooms. So just to give you a warning, in those breakout rooms, you're going to be asked to introduce yourself, share something that you learned, and then ask questions to the speakers. So be thinking about that as we go through. Up first, What are your marketing goals for 2024 to generate new customers? So Chad, let's start with you. What's your goals for 2024 to generate new customers across all your brands?
Sure. We have a couple. It's kind of interesting with the kind of new year, new me thing going on here. I would say refreshing content using AI is definitely kind of started in the middle of last year, but ongoing. Lead generation as a sales organization obviously is got to be on your top goals and taking care of franchisees. And another kind of interesting thing that we're dabbling into is using some SEO optimization for voice search. So as AI grows and as we're kind of all used now to say, you know, every night I get home and say, you know, Alexa, turn on the corner light, and we're getting used to that. More and more people are searching that way instead of just jumping on Google, and there's some alternate search engines. So we want to make sure franchising isn't late to that space. Like consumer electronics and e-commerce is already there. A lot of people aren't even thinking about people start asking just general questions using voice search. So we're experimenting with that a little bit. But I would say lead generation always is the top of the list. Probably for all of us that are franchisors, right? We need new blood coming into the system, new excited entrepreneurs joining our organization, as well as we need to generate leads for our existing franchisees. So those are always, you know, making our franchisees successful is our number one goal, always and forever.
It's really good that I don't have an Alexa device in this room. It might be the only room in my house that I don't, because when you said that, it probably would have picked up your voice and done it.
Turn the lights on.
Yeah, exactly. All of a sudden I'm in the dark. Crystal, you know a lot about the lead generation space, obviously, in the seat that you sit. What's your perspective on this?
Yeah, so I wholeheartedly agree. All of our clients are hyper-focused on marketing value, and there's a lot of pressure to shift as much budget as possible into revenue generating channels at the bottom of the funnel. So we're seeing a lot of investment, obviously on the search side, but as a direct response mechanism, where social is still an important piece in that realm too, although that is shifting a little bit. But we're also seeing some really great performance actually coming out of audio. Like people are searching through voice, people are also listening to podcasts all day, every day. And so audio is becoming a really important channel in the media mix for our customers. We're also really focused on lead quality. We obviously need to be filling the funnel and focused on lead gen, but our owners don't have a lot of time to parse through dozens and dozens of leads. So we're using AI solutions to really enforce lead quality, verifying the lead quality through things like call scoring, enhanced conversions from Google, those sorts of things. We're also doing more in leading, I guess what I call strategic planning, strategic business planning. So we just had a client come to us and say, we want to grow our business by X. Just for this example, $10 million in growth next year. And so he said, okay, what does that actually generate in terms of new customers? And then we can use billing data, lead data, appointment booking data, whatever that is, to back into, for this client specifically, it was booked appointments, to get to an actual conversion and number that we need to hit from our digital marketing efforts. And, we're all marketers in this room, most likely, or operations, but when you start talking in black and white like that, in terms of backing into goals based on an actual business objective, that's when we can start making friends with our CFOs across the companies. So that, I think that's really important, especially as people start to tighten their belt a little bit and understand how their marketing dollars need to be spent.
Yeah, definitely. One thing that Crystal mentioned that is, podcasts and people listening to podcasts just for fun while we're going through this. Lindsay, I'm throwing it to you next. But before that, if anybody has any podcast recommendations that everybody should be listening to, put them in the chat. My favorites have nothing to do with business whatsoever. I love Armchair Expert, and I'm also a big fan of the New Heights podcast because I'm a big football fan. And just going to throw in Go Lions because this is the only time that I've been able to say that in my life and people actually believe me. So throwing that in there. But Lindsay, what are your thoughts?
I love it. Well, I'm incredibly excited for 2024. I can't believe January is almost behind us. The joke that January has like 57 days in it, I'm feeling it for sure. But that just means we get to draw out our New Year's resolutions. And for those of you who made maybe personal New Year's resolutions, I highly recommend that you actually make professional ones as well. Building your professional brand and your networking and franchising will help build your career and will help build you guys personally as well. So I highly recommend that. But personally, my goals for my brands this year I've got 3 of them. One is to make sure that we're diversifying our marketing portfolio. I think oftentimes the organizations are getting very dependent on certain channels. And as we all know as marketers, and probably why we love our job so much, is that things are changing every single day. We come in, and the minute you think you've got something figured out, the rug is pulled out from under you and you've got to figure out something else. And I absolutely love it. It keeps me on my toes every day. But to make sure that we create a really healthy mix and media mix, and that we're not so dependent in any one channels. With the rise of privacy and cookie elimination and more power in the individual's hands, we as marketers need to be more creative and thoughtful and make sure that we're spreading our budget out to more channels. So if you're a brand that's 50% dependent on Meta, for example, I really recommend this year that you really hunker down and make sure to diversify your portfolio. The second one probably is maybe a little silly to others, but it's really to simplify. I think as marketers, we naturally overcomplicate things. And in everything that we're trying to do, especially as we try to lead large franchise organizations and small business owners, is the more we can simplify, the easier they are to execute. And this is a shameless little plug. I'm speaking at IFA on a panel, and all we're discussing for the entire hour on Monday morning is simplifying local marketing strategies. And so I think as we think about that and how we teach our franchisees, that should be of the utmost importance. And we like to use the acronym KISS, keep it simple, stupid. And so that is now on a bulletin right at my desk as one of my marketing goals. And the third is, how do I become a better teacher? And I know, these goals aren't, as strategic as you might have wanted me to answer them, but the better teachers we are, especially to our franchisees, the more likely they are to execute. At one trend I am seeing, I think we're all seeing in 2024, is how important grassroots marketing is. There's so much we can do with AI, digital marketing, and everything, but if we cannot teach the basics of grassroots marketing, and especially these days, consumers are so desperate for human connection, I think we'll really see a rise in grassroots. And so being able to teach those simple principles and being able to track the return on grassroots is important to me.
Yeah, those are great points. And I do think working in franchising, we all know that majority, if not all of your franchisees probably did not get into it to be a marketer. So you need to make it as simple as possible or they won't do it. If you don't make it simple for them to do, if you need them to do something locally, they have a business to run. They didn't get into this to do marketing. You did, but they didn't. So if you don't make it simple, they're not going to execute and you're not going to be able to hit your goals, because it does take that partnership. So I think that is definitely something that is a huge thing that we all need to remember, because I think Lindsay's right. We do overcomplicate it and there's so much coming at us all the time. And your franchisees are also getting all that at them as well. I know we're going to talk a little bit about AI here in a minute. I'll never forget when ChatGPT first became the hot big thing and everybody was talking about it. Franchisees were hearing that too. And I had a franchisee come to me and say, well, when I search what is the best business in the world, our business doesn't come up. What are we going to do about that? When I asked ChatGPT, it doesn't tell me that. And I'm like, okay, take a breath. Got to come up with a strategy. So they're hearing it too. So you have to make sure that you're keeping it as simple for them and not letting everybody get distracted by the shiny things. Danielle, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I do. I feel you on the ChatGPT with the franchisees. I formerly had a franchisee who goes, oh yeah, I've been writing my legal contracts. And I was like, oh no, don't tell me that. I'm like, no, earmuffs for the corporate. So that does, you have to be a little bit careful with it too, but we'll jump into that. But my goals for 2024, we love our brokers. We love our FSOs on the FranDev side, but we're really charged with, and me specifically, working on getting the organic lead gen up for franchise development. And that can be difficult because it is such a complicated business model and such a big commitment, and people might be interested in starting a business, but they don't really know anything about the franchising model. They're not clear on all the support that we provide and the marketing tools and the technology behind it and all of those components that come with it. So doing that education for people who go, I want to start my own business. You know, there's a really entrepreneurial culture right now with everyone on TikTok and Instagram, and on Meta, everyone's talking about starting business opportunities. But a lot of times people think of franchising as either, you know, I need a full brick and mortar build out of a QSR, or it's, you know, they don't really realize that there are some options in between that are accessible at a lower dollar buy-in. So just doing a lot of education and getting that message out and helping people to feel comfortable with getting as much information as possible so that they can understand the item 19, they can understand the tools we provide, and they can get a good understanding of what franchising really is. And they need a lot of that information before they'll ever fill out that form on the website. So working a lot around that.
Awesome. Before we move on to our next question, if you're not paying attention to the chat, you should be, because there are some great recommendations on podcasts in there. I'm just saying. All right, next. What new marketing approaches and channels do you plan to launch this year? Lindsay, let's start with you. You talked about diversifying your plan. What does that look like as far as approaches and channels?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff popping up right now. If you haven't dabbled in TikTok ads, or even CTV, I'd say start to play with it, start to experiment. If you have a franchise marketing council at your organization, use them to try to test new channels. I think it's a really great strategy, even supplementing some of their spend so you guys can learn more about it, and then use those as case studies to roll out new channels. But one thing that seems simple, and Chad, we're taking a play out of your book, which is we're revisiting old content and then repurposing it with AI. Specifically, shorts is so popular right now. The ability to create short snippets of content that people are consuming in YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, no matter what your channel is, even LinkedIn, if you've started to scroll through your LinkedIn feed, you can take a single piece of content and slice and dice it in so many different ways. So if you're really a budget conscious organization, don't think that you need to produce all these new items. I'd say revisit the old archive, find old video content and slice and dice it into shorts. Our team uses AI to help us multiply content from various channels. So you could take one piece of content, for example, it might be like a webinar like this, or for us, it's a webinar we host with our franchisees. And by using AI, you can slice and dice that. You can do a voice transcript, which writes you a blog, which writes you short social content, which creates you short video content, which helps you with, you could do a podcast version. All of a sudden, in the next hour, I've produced 9 pieces of content, and then off you go. So that's how we're using AI, and I really encourage people to play with all the new social channels and shorts.
Awesome. What are your favorite tools that you use for that, for sliding that content into shorts and, you know, multiplying it across? What platforms and tools are you using?
Yeah, so definitely, if you haven't already, just upgrade to Chat GPT-4, and whatever next version they come out with, it's worth it. It's just a small chunk of change. And if you're not plugging into any of these Zoom or Google AI assistants, that is the single easiest way to do it right now. One, it transcribes your meeting invites, and very quickly you can find efficiencies on your team by it sending out notes or key takeaways like that. But also then that allows you the content to then go plug into other AI tools to help you with transcripts to blogging, transcripts to podcasting. You can create AI videos. So those are just a few of my favorites.
Awesome. Question in the chat, and I know you have a policy around this, Lindsay, so I'm going to ask you, how are you protecting your proprietary and intellectual property when you're using this stuff? What does your AI policy look like?
Private mode all the time. And also we built into our brand standards that we have human review over everything. Also, if you're using partners, I highly suggest if you're reviewing any partners or suppliers like Promo Republic on today's or even Location 3, partner with vendors that are starting to fold in AI widgets into their tools, but make sure that you have control to make sure that you have, make sure you have control over approving all content. So human edits before everything goes live. Make sure if you have brand standards or digital guidelines for your brands, that you're making sure you're teaching your franchisees that they have to do the same. If you're nervous about them using AI tools like writing legal contracts, even consider putting in forcible approval rules that everything runs through headquarters before it goes live.
Chad, do you have anything on that, knowing how much you are an adopter of AI?
Yeah, you're talking my language. So the first thing I think I saw pop up in the corner in the chat, but Opus Clip, kind of for what Lindsay was saying, like you can get a testimonial that was, from last year and chop it up from a 5-minute testimonial from a franchisee into 30-second social media clip, super easy. It just does the work for you. It's amazing. So I would definitely experiment with that. On the kind of security side, I guess you could say, internally, we kind of have a policy that nothing gets loaded or up into ChatGPT that has confidential, sensitive information that we would not want a competitor to know, and or we would not want all over the internet. Even in private mode, there's so many ins and outs and plugins and open holes in ChatGPT right now. People kind of feeding data and pulling data from it. Even in private mode, I don't personally trust it. Yeah, I want to trust it, but I don't yet. There's been too many stories of large companies. I won't say the name of the phone company because they've been dragged through the mud enough on it, but a competitor was able just to go ask ChatGPT for some code and basically got millions of dollars of intellectual property because someone had uploaded it and said, format this for my PowerPoint presentation or whatever they did. And boom, once they did that, it's in the cloud. It's there forever. So it's an amazing tool. It's not going away. I don't want franchisors or franchisees to ever be afraid of it. But like anything else, you have to be very cautious with new technology and be smart with it. You don't want to take something that you're seeing as a competitive advantage and turn it. I was on a panel last week and I gave up one of my big tips, which is I jump on ChatGPT and research all of our competitors to see what they've put in there. I just ask, is there FDD in there? Is there operating manuals? Are those in there? You would be surprised. I've gotten full marketing plans from other companies, things that it's not maybe even necessarily highly confidential, but things that I just wouldn't go throwing around just, on a competitive viewpoint. We are in franchising, and you're absolutely right. We all do kind of stand shoulder to shoulder and share all kinds of stuff. But at the end of the day, it is a business. So you just want to be wise with that. The other thing I would say as far as approaches go, for a scrappy young brand, having an AI, the ability to auto text leads or auto call leads is a game changer. It's a leveler. We're kind of fortunate that we have 11 brands in-house. We have an in-house franchise development calling team that does a lot of that. But the ability to kind of go down the funnel one level of take this the sea of leads and say, let's say, here's 100 people, here's the 20 that are actually interested, and jump right to those 20 because they reached out to make an appointment. I think for franchising for the last 5 years, I haven't seen anything as exciting that levels the field more. And also just from a time and efficiency standpoint, even if it's not leveling it, if it's just your day-to-day job, you're able to focus on some higher level things instead of just picking up the call, making 100 calls and nobody answers. So it's that alone, if you don't use anything else, AI, that's definitely something that I would recommend.
Awesome. Crystal, I know you have thoughts on all of this.
Yeah, no, I love all of this. So I just on the privacy stuff, I wanted to make a note that as a company, we have built an AI policy that we make our teams agree to, and it very much outlines everything that Chad just talked about. And I think that's really important. Don't overlook updating that manual and those policies as it relates to the use of these tools. We also created a standardized like vetting system because we don't want to suppress people from going out and trying new tools and technology, but we want to make sure they're being vetted to the highest standard before we bring it into the organization as something we want to use. So we created those vetting standards, and those go through our AI committee. We asked team members to volunteer for that, who share that interest, and they help kind of forge the vetting process and the growth of AI within the company. It's a lot of fun, and it's a really nice way to share the workload because AI is huge. There's so many applications for it, and so it helps us find new avenues that way. I also wanted to just double down on what Lindsay said about shorts. Short content, especially video content across Reels, Shorts, Snap, all of those is very popular. We're seeing a lot of traction on those, a lot of really good performance metrics tied to customers. We also, I think it just goes back to this idea that customers just really want to interact with brands that they have an affinity for, that they feel like they could be passionate about. Personally, I'm a millennial, right? Millennials and younger, we really want to know that the brands that we're spending our money with are doing things that align with ourselves. And those shorts and getting your brand out there in a positive, meaningful, but fun way is really important. We've seen a lot of success with Nextdoor and Reddit. I think those two channels are sometimes overlooked. Reddit, people tend to be afraid of because there can be some spicy things happening over there. But if you if you maintain your brand standards and kind of lock down content, it is full of rich context that, with us losing cookies, contextual targeting is really important. And so you can find, they may be small, but really rich niche markets in Reddit that could be a powerhouse for your company.
Yeah, Crystal makes some really good points on one, she comes from the supplier side, working with, when you are talking to any of your current vendor partners or new vendor partners, do they have these policies in place from a privacy standpoint? And are they using AI in a way that is not going to be detrimental to your business? Are they doing it just because AI, I mean, I said at the beginning, AI is the buzzword. It's what everybody's saying. Are they saying we're incorporating AI and they're incorporating it just because they feel like they have to? Or are they doing it in a responsible way? Because if they're not, then it could hurt you. So that's something that, if you've not had those conversations with your vendor partners yet, you need to do it now. You're behind on it because they could be doing something that you don't know. You want to trust them, but not everybody's going to do things the responsible way. That's unfortunately the way of the world. It's going to happen. And also not losing that human aspect. As Lindsay talked about too, there's always going to be human eyes on it. There is still humans behind all of this. You have to tie into that emotional connection to the brand. That's what people want. People are going to see through it if you're just running things through any sort of AI and just putting it out there and not making sure that it still represents a human and your brand. So that's something that is also super important. We've kind of already started digging into this as we got into the strategies and things, but how you're using AI in your work and what you would recommend. We've had some great recommendations so far. Danielle, anything on your end that you're doing that might be different, or you can back up anything that anyone else has said?
Sure. On AI, I'm looking into how can we use it to dial in our personas better and the visitors to our website better. Everybody a lot of times will work with an agency. The agency will go, okay, this is corporate Chris. He wants to quit his corporate job and get, and that's our target persona. But with some of the AI tools that are out there, you can really do some more analysis on, okay, who really are both our current franchisees that we already have and get more granular info on them. And then also who are the people that are in the lead pipeline, get some more info and demographics on them, as well as visitors to the website. So actually, I think without the cookies, there's a lot of changes and all that kind of thing. But in some ways, it can make it actually a little bit creepier in terms of how much you can dig into the visitors to your website and who these people are. And, get as much information on them as possible. You know, I like AI in terms of messaging and using it in content creation, but I'm also a little bit skeptical of it because I'm sort of an SEO purist, diehard SEO person. So, you know, when everything's being scraped, I don't want there to be a day where then Google goes, okay, well, everybody use the same blog post and the same content. So I do like to do some human review on it. And I like for our partners to be upfront if they are using ChatGPT to generate our blog posts. So I will run those through an AI checker to see if the whole thing is completely ChatGPT, you know, especially if we're paying a monthly like retainer for that content or whatever.
Do you have a favorite AI checker that you use?
On chat, I think it's ChatGPT 0 or 0 GPT, I think. Just to kind of see what's going on, get a feel for if the whole thing is you know, chat generated or not. To touch back on Reddit, I've tried that a little bit too. Just in terms of awareness, I think it's an interesting one to look at right now as well.
Awesome. Is anyone else on the panel doing anything from a checking standpoint or worried about how, you know, AI is affecting your SEO?
Yeah, so there's a tool called I hope I don't pronounce it wrong. It's called like Siona or SEONA, Sona. It's a newer tool, and it basically uses AI to go through your site and check like your meta tags, your meta descriptions, some of like the back end stuff that we kind of set it and forget it, right? Like we build a website, we think we're really smart when we do that, and then the reality is over time, certain keywords that were awesome for us 6 months ago maybe aren't now. So we're experimenting with that. Just kind of, again, we were talking about using AI, just kind of like a refresh to kind of regenerate content. That's an interesting tool that's come out that uses AI specifically on the back end. It kind of goes through and says, hey, you said this is the sentence for your description. If you change these 3 words, you'll probably rank higher. You could do some, you know, tons of use SEMrush or use keyword checkers and things like that, but it's awesome just to go hit a button and it does, you know, like for us, we have 11 brands. So I have 11 consumer sites. I have 11 FranDev sites. There's 22 sites right there. It's very unwieldy to get to that level down the checklist of important stuff that I have to do in my day-to-day job.
That's not all you do?
Tech team.
That's not all you do?
Yeah, that's all I do. Yeah, I wish. That's the fun stuff. Yeah, so but to have that's one of the really cool things with AI is to have tools that do that kind of, I call it like the grunt work, but also we're at the stage now, especially going into this year, where these tools are going to do a better job than we can do. Like I have an SEO purist heart, as well as Danielle. I'm kind of from the old school, and I feel myself holding on to that. And we definitely have levels of protection, and we check, and we have humans look at everything. I'm trying to get better in my OCD control side of realizing these tools like exist for a reason, and they can do some things better than we can. Not just faster than we can do them, but they can actually do them better because they don't have the same biases that I do. And I have to, you know, sometimes go, okay, let's try it. The other thing that I would just add to the conversation that we were kind of talking about with using partners and using AI and all of that thing is not just giving away like your company's information to them. You know, like I said, they could run, if they're doing your blogs, they can do the same thing that would damage you of running things through. But even something as simple as like you were talking about transcriptions for meetings, like using Fireflies or one of the other ones that transcribes meetings. They're really cool tools for taking that and then running it through ChatGPT and saying, hey, what are the 3 key takeaways from this meeting and who's responsible for them? And so, you know, like at the end of this talk, if we had a transcription, we could say, what were the 3 tools that team talked about the most? And that is awesome from just a meeting efficiency perspective. And again, I always tell my team, the caveat is, as long as you're in a meeting that you're not talking about confidential data or numbers or things that you don't want out there, you can do that. So sometimes we'll get a transcription. I'll scrub a couple numbers off of it just to be double safe because I'm paranoid, and then run it through and get the benefits from it. So don't trust all these tools at face value, I would say. The only other last thing I would mention with that is we kind of talked about, I love the idea, Crystal, of having like a vetting process of like what AI tools to use, because especially for franchisees, there's hundreds of them every day. my kind of new policy with that I tell franchisees and I kind of try to use here, if I'm experimenting with a new AI company, it's different than anything that I've done before where I'm signing a year contract or, I'm doing this. I basically tell them straight up, we need a short-term contract to test and experiment. If you're not comfortable with that, you're not a good fit for us. Like we're just not interested in a business, because the reality is their tool may be the most amazing thing today. And then on Friday, the most amazing tool comes out that blows it out of the water for half the price. And you don't want to get locked in. Just the speed of AI is so exponential at this point. You need to, as a vendor, and I think also as for the other people on the team that are suppliers, you need to be aware of that too, just so you're sensitive to the other side's kind of needs, so you can balance that out and be smart with decisions. We want to try all the cool new tools. We don't want to lock up all of our marketing funds and then feel like an idiot when 5 months from now the most amazing thing comes out and it's like puts ChatGPT. It's like Gemini's out now. What's ChatGPT? Right? It's just inevitable that's going to happen with the speed of AI.
Yeah, it's moving so fast. And you have to, I think on the franchisor side, as you're thinking about budgets, if you have the ability to keep some money in like an innovation fund, hold some of that back, because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, a year and a half ago, we all would have never thought that we would be investing in all of these AI tools that we are. That was not in anybody's budget, was to have the paid version of ChatGPT and all of these different tools and things that, have these monthly costs that come along with them. Yes, there's a lot of benefit, but none of us had that in our budget. And we had to figure out how to get it in there because it was important that we do. So that's something to keep in mind too, as you're having those conversations. We had a question in the chat. Do you see AI replacing people or freeing up people to pursue other tasks and opportunities? What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I can actually jump in on that one because it kind of led to a thought I was having. So we're really looking at AI as a way to amplify our team, not replace our team, right? So how can we amplify lower level tasks that they were doing, amplify their bandwidth, and set them off into things that are just frankly more important and should have human brain power behind it, right? So an example of this is, again, I'm on the marketing side. We do regular audits of our accounts. Because those audits are repeatable processes, we went to the table and said, anything that's a repeatable process, we can probably build a tool to do it for us. So we built a system that every day, every single campaign that we have in-house is audited against a set of parameters. There's obviously a human element that backs that up, but it amplifies what we would normally be getting out of our teams. And I think that's really important. Everyone's probably in the same boat where when ChatGPT came out and all of a sudden we don't need writers anymore. Well, of course you do, right? But everyone was afraid and fearful of their job. And so we've just been really adamant that the message that we're bringing to our teams is AI is here to help you, not replace you. And so however we can reinforce that messaging is really important to us.
I think it's super important what you said about like it replaces some of those more like mundane tasks that have to be done and allows your team then to take that information instead of having to scrub it, figure it out, then analyze it and be strategic. The scrub it, figure it out is done for them. Then they get to look at it and then dive in a little bit deeper and be strategic. So they can probably get, I would assume you're getting a lot more done in a lot quicker time and allowing them to do other cool things that they probably enjoy more than doing that scrubbing everything.
Ashley, I just one last word. I think the staff members that are going to win are the ones that use AI to help them innovate. You mentioned innovation early. So if we have if we have an AI tool listening, our number one takeaway this year, our 2024 goal should be innovation and using tools like this to help you innovate. I came from a technology world where they used to have hackathons. Anyone ever remember those? 24 hours, they'd lock developers in a room and then they'd come out 24 hours later. They'd shut business down and allow them to invent anything they wanted in 24 hours and came out and it was this beautiful innovation opportunity. If you haven't done that early this year with your team, take them out of the daily grind, Give them tools like this to innovate ideas and strategies and be creative. And I think that an exercise like that would be such a great way of getting phenomenal ideas and creativity out of your team, and use these tools to help do that. Otherwise, it's January 57th. Remember, all of us are already in the grind, and let's not get stuck and come up with some really cool and exciting ideas this year.
Yeah, and that's hard to do. It's really hard because we all have a lot going on, right? It's really hard to take your team out of the day-to-day and lose a whole day. But losing that day or two is going to reap rewards and pay dividends later. You just have to remind yourself that, because it's really hard. And I would say, to piggyback on what Lindsay said, lock away. Don't let people be distracted, and don't let them. It's really easy to say, oh, we're going to do an offsite meeting and we're going to, whatever. And then somebody's over there, oh, I have this email that's coming in and I need to answer it. Like, turn all that distraction off, or you're not going to get the best out of your team. And make it fun, and make it, there is no bad idea, that whole brainstorming of it. Like, really lean into that for at least a portion of time, because that will help you in the future. Even though it seems like you're stepping away from your business for a little bit, you are, but those clarity breaks are something that are great. Another question in the chat that we'll answer, and then we'll get into the breakout rooms. Is anyone using any similar tools for optimizing visual content, just in addition to text? So going away from just the writing and the text and SEO and all of that, but anything to improve visibility and design. Is anyone doing anything with that?
So improving design, not so much, but we have been testing a tool that we're pretty excited about. It's called adcreative.ai. So it's pretty interesting. It allows you to scrape a URL, and then it will use the content and the assets on that URL to build creative for you. So it's a way to leverage your existing brand standards. You know that everything it spits out is going to be something that's already approved by you. And it will compile different assets and give you like 30, 40, 50 different creative options that you can then choose from. This is really important for us because it leads to the personalization that we need if we're running marketing across, dozens, hundreds of individual locations, right? So it's kind of a way to get creative that's already within your brand standards and should be up to snuff.
Cool. Anyone else doing anything visually with AI?
Yeah, we have one of our brands in New Zealand. I actually just saw the page today, like 10 minutes before hopping on the meeting. They do signage, so we own Signorama, and they have a really cool. They're very transparent. It says AI generated like images, and what it is it's AI created a bunch of signs. Like, this is what this van would look like wrapped. This is a building sign. And it's basically like a little gallery, kind of like hey, here's it's kind of like looking at pictures of your dream home. But they've utilized that to not just and up to now, we always would do like, oh, these are examples of our work, right? This is the sign that we just made yesterday, and here it is on the website. So it was one of those aha, like, oh yeah, we can actually show what we could make using AI. We're not limited by just graphics that we've already created. And it looked amazing. It blew me away. I was like, this is definitely the future of what's going on.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, now we're going to jump into the breakout room. So you will be randomly assigned to a breakout room. We're going to have about 10 minutes until the end. You will get to introduce yourself, share a learning, ask questions to the speakers. The speakers are going to be the hosts of the breakout room. So any questions that you have, feel free to drop them in there, and put right in the chat if you want to change rooms for some reason. Maybe you have a burning question that you really want to ask Danielle, so you'd love to be in her room. You can drop that in the chat and the team will make it happen. Everybody's trickling back in. I know some people probably had to jump because we're a little bit over the time, but appreciate everybody coming to this today. Hopefully you got some good nuggets of information. I know that I did. I learned a lot from our panelists. So huge thanks to Chad, Lindsay, Danielle, and Crystal. Thank you to you guys for all attending, asking questions, engaging. Reminder, if you have not joined the CMO Peer Talks group, please do so. Free to join, lots of cool resources and stuff there. And if you are going to IFA and want to be part of the in-person event that we have, feel free to reach out to me or anybody on the Promo Republic team. I know they'll know about that as well. But any questions, and hopefully see you guys in about 3 weeks, which is crazy that it's already IFA. But we'll see you guys there.
We got booted. All right, there we go.
Were you guys still talking? All right.
Oh yeah, we were having a ball.
Well, you missed the thank you. So we'll do another little wrap up because you guys were still talking. Just thanks to our panelists, lots of great information, lots of great tools and takeaways. Recordings for this will be available probably by the end of the week. So keep an eye on your email that you registered for, and you'll probably be posted on LinkedIn as well. But if you have questions for any of the panelists, I'm sure they would be happy to answer them if you reach out to them via message on LinkedIn. So thanks again, everybody, for coming.
Thanks so much.
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.
Bye.
Appreciate it.